Hey guys, have you ever wondered where good ideas come from? Have you ever struggled with trying to come up with a good symbolic idea for your illustration or your artwork? Well, I found some gems from an old book by Andrew Loomis. So let me share some ideas with you. He has a chapter in his book um, on how to create appealing illustrations. And it comes with some great wisdom on how to develop and craft an idea. And so, if you're trying to tell a story with your art and you're trying to figure out the best way to get at the core of what that idea is and how to connect with an audience, look no further than Andrew Loomis. Again, these are old-fashioned books. They come from the mid 1950s, 40s, but they're awesome. They're full of all kinds of really good information. So I found a few of them in reprints, and I just love looking at them. They have so many good ideas in them. So specifically to answer our question, how do you craft a good illustration? How do you really capture a story? Let's dive in a little bit more into what Andrew had to say. So again, this is my copy. I got some pictures of it here. This is that chapter on creating illustrations, creating ideas. And he has this three-step process for getting there. A lot of us skip this step and just assume inspiration is just going to crash down on us from somewhere. Now, personally, I've had ideas come to me like that in a flash and go, oh, that's an idea, and then run with it. Sure. But what if you have an assignment or you have a project to complete and you're really just scratching your head? Step number one, as he says, evolve interesting questions. Or I would say, ask the right questions. Now, he has a bunch of questions to prompt you and help you think it through. And that's it. That's the key. Think it through. But you can't just come up with something without actually asking questions first. Why am I doing this? Who is the theme of or the subject of the illustration? Who's it for? When is this illustration happening or the scene I'm depicting? How did we get here? Where are they? At what time? How often? What does it do? What shall we do? Is there something I'm going to learn from this? You can take these questions in any direction you want. It does not matter. What you need to do, though, is put yourself through the process of asking, a dozen questions at least. Just push yourself, force yourself to think about your assignment and answering these questions. And guaranteed, as you work through that and you craft these questions, you're going to get closer to your idea, which leads directly into step two, which is answer these questions effectively. And if you don't get good answers, repeat, go back to step one, figure out the right question to ask so that you can get to the right answer. So in his book, he has this little example where he uses this product, this pharmaceutical product that is meant to give you energy. And sounds a little like snake oil, but who knows? It's the 50s, whatever you want. But I love the idea of these vintage products that are going to change your life, right? So he goes through um, answering these questions. Why this product? Because it's pure and germ protected. How often is it eaten? How is it eaten? In many delicious ways. Does it taste good? Everybody loves it. So he goes through and, answers all these questions. That's what he uses to then get to ideas. And the ideas, using those answers, should come and connect with human motives. Okay, so human motives are an important part of this equation. We want to connect our art with a legitimate emotion. So here's an example. These are his sketches from the book. This old overweight guy who suddenly has the energy to ride his bike because he had dairy gold cream cheese, right? Oh, what happened to grandpa? He's no longer taking naps. He's out playing baseball with the kids, right? It's funny, corny ideas. Who knows? There's nothing scientific here. We're just entertaining. I also love in his sketches how he took time to think about where the pictures are, where the text is, where the logo is, right? Same thing here. I love how Grandpa's out for a walk with his big cigar, right? Wow. Grandpa's out there with the stroller, with all this energy now because he had cream cheese in the morning. Then take a twist and turn it another direction. Instead of just having grandpa the subject, how about you try focusing on the food product itself and make it a part of the main element in the illustration and the advertisement. Flip it around and change the focus. So those questions, those answers, and those emotions you're connecting to help you develop concepts. And this is the other really important thing to remember. Don't just stick with one concept. One solution is boring. Force yourself to do at least three, four, five. Try different ways of approaching the answer to the questions in a visual way. Now let's focus on those human motives and desires a little bit more. What human motives actually connect with people? Sex sells, of course. That's why you see a lot of it in advertising. Now, that's not the only motive, obviously, but it's a very strong impulse. So people use it a lot in advertising. What else works? How about things like comfort or safety, or health and beauty? Those are other things that people desire or they want for themselves or their family. And so if you can connect with those types of normal human emotions, whatever they may be, and you can craft an image that maybe relates to or celebrates that, that emotion, well, then you start to connect with a visual that people respond to. And that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for inspirational items. For me personally, I like the happy ending. I like inspiration. So when I'm crafting an illustration, I want it to feel like a high point or a celebration or, something that people want to revere or admire. And just looking at these old-fashioned ones is fun. You know, these this guy in the courtroom, he's all strong because he had ward executive cigarettes. It's funny. Um, don't you just love that old car? That illustration of that old car. I love it. Love that. The sidewall, everything. Ooh, cool. Um, Fun. Here's a more modern example, right? This isn't an illustration, but the sentiment is the same. What what human emotion are we connecting with here? We're connecting with um, kindness and hope, right? And that character embodies that. And so if you know that and you connect with it, you understand it, right? Here's one: adventure, patriotism, right? Girl power. Captain Carter is taken over for Captain America. I can take it from here. That's what's implied here with this old-fashioned illustration, and then kind of torn out of the way. Here comes Captain Carter from that, What If series. This one, you know, it's kind of a silly one, but it's connecting with humor, trying to connect with an audience that recognizes, oh, this is, a lot of video game tropes, but then, it's the NPC running around trying to have his adventure, and it's good old Ryan Reynolds. And what's mischief is he going to get into, right? So the idea again is to take your pictures, to take your challenge, answer those questions, craft your idea, and then try to connect with a visual that connects on an emotional level with your customer or your audience. And that's not a manipulation. It's not being manipulative. It's, in my mind, trying to connect, communicate. And the more effective you are at communicating, the better or more well received your art is going to be. All right. So good luck with that. Hope that makes sense.